Chapter 10. The Gumball Machine. Like a lot of American families, when I was a kid, we almost always ate Sunday dinner at my grandparents' house. There would be cheap meats, dead vegetables, and lots of mashed potatoes. And there would be pie. Usually it was apple pie, which made me very happy, but once in a while we'd arrive to discover that my grandmother had baked up some rhubarb instead, and that always pissed me off. The commute from our Serious Man neighborhood to my grandparents' house was fairly long, and sometimes my sister and I, trapped together as we were in the back seat of our '64 Impala, would bicker enough that my mother would threaten us with severe penalties if we didn't shut up until we got there. Whenever my mother did that, my sister would spend the rest of the trip wailing, "I want to talk. I want to talk." Our route followed much of the same path that Muhammad Ali's funeral procession would take years later. Along Bardstown Road, past West Butyl, and onto I-264, the Watterson Expressway. But instead of heading north to downtown on the newly constructed I-65, we'd travel a little further west to Taylor Boulevard and then to the south end of Louisville, where working-class white people like my grandparents lived. One hot Sunday afternoon, probably in the summer of 1965, we were stopped at a traffic light on Taylor Boulevard when I saw an amazing spectacle. On the sidewalk in front of a little corner store, the shopkeeper had stationed a giant gumball machine, one of the monstrous double-globed kinds, made of glass and chrome and filled with big colorful gumballs. As we sat at the traffic light that hot Sunday afternoon, I rested my arms and my chin on an open backseat window of the Impala, and I stared at that big gumball machine. A little kid appeared, and he grabbed the machine by its chrome stem. The machine was taller than he was. The little kid began to rock the machine back and forth in a vain attempt to dislodge a gumball. Naturally, he succeeded in tilting the gumball machine to the point of instability, and when gravity sealed its fate, the kid jumped back. The machine crashed to the sidewalk, and the big globes of glass shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. Gumballs of every color scattered everywhere, onto the sidewalk, into the gutter, along the street. I heard a young man yell, "Oh my God, look at all those gumballs!" The shopkeeper appeared. He was wearing an apron, and he stared at the wreckage of his gumball machine in disbelief. The little kid had managed to hide behind a nearby bush, hunched on his hands and knees, and I could see that he was whimpering and beginning to cry. Just then the traffic light changed, and we drove away. To me, the image of the gumball spectacle is worthy of a Norman Rockwell painting, and if I were a real artist, I'd try to paint it. But alas, I can only paint that picture with my words. Maybe it's better that way. There was a lot of disturbing imagery in the last chapter, and as I mentioned near its beginning, I've included this brief chapter as an antidote for what I had to write there. The Gumball saga is still one of the most vivid memories of my childhood, and even after all these years, I sometimes conjure it whenever I need to chase away thoughts that are bothering me. Sometimes it even still works. And no matter how you arrived at these words, no matter what kind of a mood you're in, I hope that as you fall asleep tonight, your only thoughts will be about all those gumballs.